guys, it's me Kianna coming at you again today. This is part 2 to the video, and this is just basically walking you through a life of Kianna. And this was requested by so many people. They actually wanted me to do a documentary style video where I actually show everything I do from morning to night. But it's kind of difficult to do that, as I stated in the first video. So the best thing I can do is basically walk you through verbally, and also throw in some tips of what I do and what I've done for so many years. Now, we left off at after I get dolled up and Daddy has the baby, and he fixes breakfast, and he makes sure he gets up with the baby in the morning so that I can have the opportunity to look nice all day. And I start my day off doing that. Rather than sleeping in like some people would choose to do, I choose to maybe lose about an extra hour of sleep to make sure that I am on top of my game all day long. Now, it's around about 9:30 when I'm coming out of the room. So, as I stated, breakfast is already done. So, I try to force myself, now I'm on this diet, to eat breakfast that he cooked. And we basically sit down together. Pootie's usually still eating his breakfast around that time, or either playing in his toy box. So we usually go over quickly what needs to be done for that day, if any fairs are for that day at all. Although he went over them by himself, we go over them together, just ensuring that I didn't miss anything, because I am the actual bookkeeper of the business. Not only am I the bookkeeper, but I'm the dispatcher, and I'm also the person that is usually put forward to retain contracts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm the person that actually goes and not only calls these people, but also go and give them information about the company, what our services offer, the fees that we charge, and any specials that we can offer them as well. So we go over that together. I also, after I eat breakfast, usually that's around about 10 o'clock in the day, afternoon, or mid-morning, I usually start making my phone calls if I need to make any, whether that's just going through Yellow Pages, looking for certain nursing homes, doing that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Daddy is relaxing himself, finally getting a breather because he had the baby all morning long. Usually he goes and take a cigarette break and just goes out front maybe and just have a breather for himself. So again, it's important to have teamwork, because we're basically just like if you do a basketball game, we're passing to each other. So if you have that teamwork into play or in place in your home, no one gets overwhelmed, okay? Because if you're constantly passing back and forth, I had my time, I did this, I had time to clean up, now I'm ready to take on the baby or take on whatever needs to be taken on. You go have your time, you go have a breather, you go take a cigarette break. Constantly you're passing, okay? So no one's getting overwhelmed, no one's neglecting anything, no one's neglecting themselves. Everybody still has a little bit of time for themselves as well. Everybody should be on their A game in all aspects, because you do have that time. You just need to be more mindful and wiser with your time that you do have. Ladies, if you get a few minutes in a day, don't use that time to do something silly. Maybe talk a little bit less on the phone. A lot of people get mad at me because I can't talk on the phone, really. If I'm talking on the phone, it's because I'm talking about contracts. I'm trying to get payments that were not received. I'm trying to call my bank, bank and stuff like that. Maybe do some transfers, all kinds of stuff like that. That's what I'm spending my time on the phone for. Not to be lollygagging and all that kind of stuff. Now, I will talk every now and then, but it's very short and brief, maybe 5 minutes at a time, because I don't have the time to do that. Rather than use that time I do have, I'd rather use it for something that maybe I would, dress up an outfit, or maybe I would add some rhinestones or something to a flower, or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? I would rather use my time for those kind of things. So I'm just wiser with my time. Now, at, let's see, where were we at? After I did my calls and stuff like that in the morning, it winds up being around 11 o'clock at that point. So around 11 o'clock, I'm going to start already. While everything is a little bit still, Daddy's came in from his little break or whatever, his little breather. It's around 11:30. While everything is right now ready to calm down because Pootie goes down for his nap around at noon. Um, right before I start to put Pootie down for his nap, and after I've already done my calls for the business, um, that's when I start preparing or prepping for dinner to be made. Okay, so um, while I'm prepping or preparing for dinner to be made, seasoning my meats and all that kind of stuff, already being mindful that I have about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, maybe 30 tops, before Pootie actually has to go to sleep. So I need to be available for that. So I go ahead and start my dinner. I go ahead and put whatever needs to be roasted or baked in the oven or whatever. I go ahead and do that. If I'm going to fry something, I go ahead and season my meat. I go ahead and wrap it in a Tupperware or whatever, and then go ahead and place it in the refrigerator. It's already seasoned and waiting for me to go ahead and fry. So if it's baking, I go ahead and put that in the oven already seasoned, and then I come over. At that point, it's on about 12 o'clock. I come over and go ahead and put Pootie down for his nap. Now, that time is about an hour or hour and a half of nothing but time to um, basically catch up on some chores, finish any side dishes I may want to do for dinner, um, maybe getting some things ready as far as um, getting things ready for Nene when she comes home from school, because even though my daughter is almost 16, I still make sure that she has a snack and stuff laid out for when she comes home. So, um, during this time, this is Daddy's real breather, and we usually watch a movie together, and or I do videos. If you notice that a lot of my videos are around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So, that's usually what I do. Okay? And that's usually my first video of the day. Now, what I do also while he's down for his nap is I do try to catch up on spending some time with Daddy. Now, the nap is about an hour and a half, so I spend probably try to divide that time, 40 minutes of doing, like making sure I mop the floor, make sure I sweep the carpet and vacuum. I even sometimes go in the bathroom if I'm already in there, and I hate to be, explicit, but if I'm in the bathroom already, I'll go ahead and take the Pine Sol and stuff in there with me, and while I'm on the toilet, I'll go ahead and wipe off the zinc with Pine Sol and Windex to Chrome, all while I'm on the toilet. Yes, because I'm trying to be wiser with my time and get things done and be able to, tackle all the things I have to tackle. Even not just stuff that, like, not just stuff that I'm doing in the home as far as cleaning, but also spending time with people, and quality time. So while I clean or whatever, the bathroom, the kitchen, wipe out the refrigerator, whatever, mop the floor, that only takes me about a half an hour. The reason why is because I make sure that my home doesn't get too bad, where it takes a lot of time to clean it. So once that's done, it's about, at that point, maybe about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I try to make sure that even while I had to be doing videos and stuff like that, while maybe me and Daddy are watching a movie or whatever, I do make sure I give him 40 minutes of that time at least. And that time is not just dealing with working or our company or, companies I want to try to branch off, and that's not for that. That time is just strictly talking about, maybe reminiscing on, when we used to be in the shelter, and things about reminiscing about, do you remember when you used to always take pictures of me in the cafeteria in the shelter, and I didn't know you liked me, and all that kind of stuff, just little stuff. And those things just keep us focused. It keeps us remembering where we came from. It keeps us remembering that our love has a purpose, and it just makes us feel good about making sure that we're continuously working on our relationship, whether the ups or downs. And it also it sets a tone for us the rest of the day of why we actually got together in the first place. So at this time, after we've spent our time, we usually hear Pootie up whining and wanting to basically get up out the bed. So he gets up, and that's around about 2 o'clock. And I know that Nene will be home in about 45 minutes at that point. So I've already laid out her snack. Usually, whatever I baked is almost about to come out the oven. Um, and that's why her friends, when they get off of the school bus, they love to walk past my house because they always smell cooking. They be like, "What's your mother cooking today?" I even have some children, and these are big kids, 14, 15. They'll come to the door and ask me what I cooked today and can I have a plate. Needless to say, I give it to them. But, but yeah, so at that point it's about 2 o'clock. So what I do is this time is for me and Daddy, I'm sorry, and Pootie to spend our quality time together, just all three of us together. So usually from 2 to like 2:40 when Nene gets in, she gets in like 2:45. We spend time with Pootie, whether that's maybe popping in a learning DVD, whether that's doing some little flashcards with him, whether that's just playing a little game with him, whether that's just coloring with him. And we always keep stuff like this nearby. We always keep stuff like this, little pads and stuff like that, just to do with him. And whenever I see them on clearance, even if they're like for Easter, like I just bought a whole bunch of them yesterday, even if they're for Easter, I just go ahead and buy them because it's just great for us to all just do an activity. What I do is I usually buy 3 or 4 of the same ones and just buy a whole bunch of them so that we all can do the same pages, and that way we can all compare them. And Pootie gets a kick out looking at our pictures and seeing his pictures and all that kind of stuff. So we just spend that time as considered our quality time just for him or with him. We may just act silly together or tickle each other or something like that. At this point, it's now time for Nene to come through the door, and she runs through the door, and first thing she says is, "Hey, Pootie." That's all the time, every day. That's what she does. So the next thing she does, greedy butt, is run to her snack. So at that point, Daddy and I I'm doing a video at that point, you guys. So that's why you see me doing several videos a day. It's not that I have no life. It's just that I just do, in increments. And when people say they don't have time for videos and stuff like that, yeah, okay. Yes, you did. You have time, but the question is, do you have anything to talk about? So I think that's more the factor with a lot of people. I think a lot of people don't have a lot to talk about, or either they're uncomfortable or whatever, or either they're just not wise with their time. But as you can see, I run my business. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. My mother lives a couple of doors down. She bugs me. I have a sister who's older than me. I have children and all that, and I'm still able to do it. So I'm going to do a part 3, evidently, to this video, because I'll show you what my evening is like once Nene has gotten home. The meal should be taken out of the oven, actually around the time Nene gets home. So I'm turning the oven off. So dinner is actually technically done. Making sure I clean up after myself so that, when anybody look at the food, they won't be like, "Dang, the food look nice, but look at the kitchen." So I don't like that. It just ruins the whole look of everything. So I make sure that that's all tight and tidy. What I usually do is I team off, again, teamwork, and Nene is to do the dishes. That's one of her only chores besides her room. So I don't have that to worry about, luckily, most of the time. So, again, you'll see the evening of Kianna. Just tune in to part 3. I thank you all for watching and commenting, and, of course, subscribing. Love you all. Be blessed.